Yep, I'm sure that all of us have been there. No doubt all of us have gone there as well. Yep. In fact, some of us might be there right now. If you're not there, you wish you were there, but due to circumstances, you can't leave right now, or, I know, in fact, some of you probably go there in the near future. Know that you're in good company. Jesus went there. That's right, Jesus gone there. Let me tell you, right in the beginning of our gospel, when Jesus heard of the death of John the Baptist, he withdrew in a boat to a deserted place by himself. Have we all gone there? When hit with bad news, maybe a death of a spouse, a parent, or God forbid a child, and the pain hurts so much that we have to go to a deserted place. To be left alone, we cannot be with others. We just want to be with our thoughts, our hurt, our pain, and we need time out. It doesn't even have to be something as traumatic as a death, maybe a loss of job or bad medical report. Or sometimes simple thing is someone hurting us by something they did or something they said. And it cuts so deeply that we withdraw, we go to that deserted place to be by myself. And sometimes we don't even have a reason. We're just in the mood. Something hits us. And we need to be alone. It's normal because even Jesus, as much as he wanted to be with people, to help people, he said, no, I have to be by myself to go to a deserted place. You see, we can't always be happy-go-lucky. The times that we seek the deserted place. And what's interesting also, it's not just something that we grown-ups do. We do this even when we're children, when we're young. Sometimes we threaten, I'm going to run away, which means I want to go to a deserted place, leave me alone. Often enough that simply they go to their room, close the door, and you don't see them for a couple of hours. I remember it was like 50 years ago. I was in the 5th grade. And I tried out for the school baseball team. So the 1-week tryouts, and Friday was the final day. And at the end of practice, the coach was going to tell us who's on it and who wasn't. I still remember the scene now. As I said, 50 years later, I still remember what it looked like that Friday afternoon. It was getting late in the afternoon. It was getting sort of dark and sort of cloudy. Coach called everybody together, and we sort of formed a circle. And he was going to read the names of those who made the team. And there I stood with that anticipation, fingers crossed, hoping that I would hear my name. And down the list he went. And I waited, and I waited until he came to the last name. And I wasn't called. I'm 9 years old, and it hit and it hurt. It was like a thud. And so I walked home, trudged home, and no mood to walk with my friends, walked home by myself. Went into the house and simply muttered to my mother, I didn't make the team. Went into my bedroom, laid on the bed, and began to cry. And so what I'm saying is that all of us, whether we're young or old, from time to time, we want to go to that deserted place and be by ourselves. Now, the tricky question is this. How long can I stay on Gilligan's Island? You know? How long can I stay there? There is no set time. That's part of the problem. Particularly when you deal with death, when you mourn, no one mourns the same. We have different reactions. There's no set, 1 week's, who knows? We're different. Different personalities, different characters, we don't know. And sometimes, typically, usually, though, we sort of have an inner sense that enough's enough. We kind of know it's time to get out from the island. Even if it's not easy, we know we got to do it. And if we don't realize it, then sometimes friends or family would sort of poke us and prod us. Hey, come on now. kind of ease us out of it, because unfortunately most of us, we don't like seeing people on that island, and we want to get them off as soon as we can. And the other danger is some people go there too often, and that's another problem. And some get stuck, and they may need help. So how long you stay on the island, it varies with different people. But I do know how to get off. And Jesus also shows us how to do it. It says this: He saw the vast crowd, and his heart was moved with compassion, and he cured the sick. You see what took place here is this. He took his eyes off himself and noticed the pain in others. See, when we heal others, we are healed. When we lift others up, we are lifted up. Okay? When we cheer someone else up, we are cheered up. The danger is that we get too inner focus, and we just focus on our hurts, our pain. You can't do it. The way to heal is to get out of yourself and to notice others. Sometimes what happens sometimes, especially with dealing with death, I have people say, well, say the wife is the survivor. Oh, you always want to go on that cruise? Go take that cruise. Get out and go on a cruise, have a good time. And it works for that time, but guess what? You're going to come back home. The cruise isn't forever, then what? Yes. And then sometimes people go on these spending sprees. Oh, he would have wanted you to have it. Go out and buy. So they start buying things, thinking that it's going to get them off the island. Again, when you buy, I'm sure there's a momentary pleasure, but that doesn't last. Because you're going to get your visa bill, and then what? The way we heal ourselves is what Jesus shows us what to do. When I go out of myself and I help others, I myself am helped and healed. And the third point is this: why we often don't do it is this: we think, we look at ourselves, what do I have to offer? What can I do? What can I bring? I'm not talented enough. I'm not smart enough. And besides, that's someone else's professional job. Let them do it. And again, we see what Jesus did, because the apostles thought they had an excuse as well. There's over 5,000 people. They're hungry. And here's their excuse: all we have is 5 loaves and 2 fish. Therefore, we're off the hook. I can't. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough. And what did Jesus say? And then he said, bring them here to me. And so what Jesus tells us is this: whatever you have, you bring it to the Lord, and the Lord will use it. You don't have to be the smartest, the best, the most talented. Take what little you have, you bring it to God, and God will use it. Bring it to me. I don't know if you ever heard of Tommy Barber. It was this past September down in Fort Pierce. He lived in an apartment complex, and one of the apartments caught on fire, and the woman was trapped inside. Others, of course, fled the building. Not Tommy. He went into the flames, and he rescued this woman. What's even more amazing about this courageous act is this: that Tommy is blind. It took a blind man to go in the burning flames. So even you're blind, you say, Lord, give it to me and I will use it. I like little Alden Hornaday. He's an 8-year-old boy. He found his brother's dusty old monitor up in the closet. He took it down from the closet, dusted it off, and began blowing the harmonica. Didn't know what he was doing. There's no music, just making noise. Anyway, he stuck it in his pocket. Next day, he went shopping with his mom. His mom was in the store. He's outside waiting for his mom. He takes out his harmonica, and he's wearing a ball cap. He takes off the ball cap like he sees guys do in the corner. He takes out the harmonica, and he starts, making noise. And guess what? To his surprise and delight, he got $80 worth of tips. Isn't that amazing? He's just blowing into a harmonica. Now, before you think this is a budding con artist, what he did with the money was this. In school, he heard about these African orphans suffering from these parasites. And he set up his own charity called Aiden Cares. And with that silly old moniker, he has raised $60,000. You see, what little you have, you give it to me, Jesus says, and I will use it. And later this morning, when we have the intentions read aloud, we remember those who passed away. We hear the name Kathleen Hoffman. She was buried yesterday. She was in this parish, but she relocated to New Smyrna Beach. For years, she struggled with her battle against cancer. And why I mentioned his name to you, that while she was here, while she was diagnosed with cancer, instead of turning inward, feeling sorry for herself, she carried a spirit of joy. And what she began here at this parish was those prayer shawls, those prayer blankets, where people in our parish who make prayer blankets with the prayer, and they pray over it, and they give it to those who are suffering like Kathleen with cancer or other illnesses. And they become a blessing to those. And so Kathleen lived these years out in the spirit of joy, not so much looking at herself, but how can I help those also who are sick? Now, it takes little things. Little things. You get a chance, check out the bulletin letter. I wrote about this priest in our country, of Father James Martin. He's in a religious group called the Jesuits, and the Pope's a Jesuit. Anyway, he's an author. So he sent the Pope, as a gift, 3 of his books. People give Pope gifts all the time. But to his surprise, he got a thank you letter from the Pope, not one of those form letters, but from the Pope himself. And this is what Father Martin says. He said this experience receiving that letter really touched him. He remembered how stingy I can be with my own time. It reminds us that no one is too busy to do an act of kindness. The Pope, probably one of the busiest people in the world, took time out of his day or night to send a handwritten note to someone whom he has never even met. His act made me want to be more generous in my own life with my time. By the way, you see that the Pope even took the time to neatly address the envelope. He says, if the Pope can find time to be kind to others, if he can pause to say thank you, if he can make a moment to make someone feel appreciated, then so can I. See, there's no excuse. There is no excuse. And so I ask you this week, whether you're on that deserted place or not, or if you plan on going there, you rise above it and come out of that, then look and touch and bless others. So this week, see if you do something to bless others. You don't have to save them from a burning fire. You don't have to play a harmonica. It could be something as simple as writing a note. And then you experience that when I bless others, I am blessed in return.